Welcome back to Manor Lords. I think this is the last episode I'll do for a little while, just because the game's in early access. They're going to have a lot of time to try to make improvements and additions to the game, and I want to come back sometime to have a look at those. But there's one big thing that I have not actually explored yet. Ooh, a bandit camp. Where was that bandit camp? Oh, it's down here. Well, actually, that's kind of perfect, because what I wanted to explore was taking over other territories. So I think that I'm not actually sure if I'm allowed to try to take over this territory while there's a bandit camp in it, or if I have to do something about the bandit camp first. Let's see. So I want to go to Iconau and claim it with influence. And by the way, influence is this: the iron fist that you see up in the HUD up here. This is how much influence I have, and this basically comes from me winning battles. And so because I just was getting in all these fights with the various bandits, it was coming to me as influence. There are other ways to gain influence, though. One of those ways is actually through the manor. So if you go to the taxes department over here, there's lots of different taxes here, most of which just don't exist yet because it's in early access. But the top two are what matters. The land tax funnels money that would normally be going into your people's coffers, and it puts them into your coffers so that you can afford things like mercenary armies. And if you actually get your tax income high enough, you can maintain mercenaries long term without needing to constantly disband them as soon as a fight's over. And then there's tithe. Tithe donates your people's money to the church, which then gives you influence instead of treasury. So you don't get it doesn't go to your treasury, it goes to the church, and then the church likes you more and you have more public influence. So if we wanted, now right now we've actually got plenty of influence, I'm not worried about it, but if we wanted to, we could earn it by raising the tithe. And this is actually the main reason why you might want to consider. I built my manor house very, very late in the process. If you can get the resources, you can build your manor house early and start earning influence very, early on in the process, and maybe get up to the 1,000 influence that it costs to take over a territory without having to wait, to have enough bandit fights that you can do it just through bandit fights. Because, that's why the Baron owns all this stuff. Well, part of the reason the Baron owns all this stuff is because Slavic Magic has admitted they feel like they made the Baron a little bit too aggressive. That the Baron does this too quickly. You don't really have a reasonable time to get ahead of the Baron and start claiming your own territory before the Baron just takes it all out from under you. But also one reason why that happened is because I was only earning influence from bandit fights, and I also wasn't paying attention to my influence. So when it got up high enough to claim a territory, I didn't do anything about it. Anyway, so let's hit that button. I will press my claim to this region. Now, there is still this bandit camp there, so I won't be able to do much with this region until I take care of the bandit camp. So let's still call my banners. So we've now got this many militia footmen, 13. We've actually got 36 people that we could make into footmen if they had enough swords. You can see what they're missing here. They got 36 out of 36 people, but they only have 13 out of 36 swords. So where were we making swords again? I've been playing in a different town for a while, so I forgot where I stuck my blacksmith. There they are. Are you making swords right now, blacksmith? You are making swords. Okay, good. So eventually we'll get more swords. For right now, we've only got the 13, but I think that'll be enough to fight these bandits. So let's... Now, we can call in the spears, we can call in the militia. One thing we could also call in is our retinue. This retinue is a special military unit that appears when you have a manor. And actually, you can improve your retinue. So I've got $660. I don't know what the units are. It's not dollars. In my treasury. And for every 50 that I spend, I can add one powerful soldier to my retinue. So let's say we wanted to spend $250 and add 5 more people to my retinue. These people are hired from outside my town. I don't have to sort of raise them up internally. And now if I look at my army, I've got 10 of these guys, which makes my army even more powerful. So yeah, so now let's call our banners. Bring this guy here, that guy there, and that guy here. Now, the retinue is slower than the other soldiers. And so if we're calling in the retinue, the whole group is going to move more slowly. By the way, so I believe, as I understand it, claiming a territory works the same way no matter who's doing it. The Baron claims a territory, and then I get the option to resist the claim by various means. mostly at this stage militarily. And I believe the Baron can do that too. When I'm claiming a territory, the Baron can resist it, I think, by sending his armies. So that's one reason why I'm like, maybe it's good for me to go after this bandit camp, because then I'll already have armies in the territory in case the Baron decides to be a butt and compete with me for it. Okay, so we'll get that going. And really, I mean, watching us take over a new territory and talking about things like taxes was the main thing I wanted to accomplish. But there is another aspect to taking a territory that we should look at, which is running 2 towns at once. Because there's a few different tools that they have for making that a little bit easier. So that your second town actually kind of has some advantages over your first town. But it has a disadvantage of you having less time to pay attention to it. Okay, we got them to the border. They're all gathered up. So let's take them over here. But let's get them not too close. Oops. Let's get them not too close because we want them to still form up before the bandits come after them. So let's see when the bandits notice us. Ah, they noticed us. Yep, there they are. Okay. So let's get ready to receive those bandits. Now, my toughest troops against their charge, I think, will actually be my spearmen. And so let's pull just a little further back, because the spearmen can do the stand your ground thing, and just sort of absorb a lot of hits. Meanwhile, I have actually more offensive ability, I believe, with my footmen, and my retinue, I think, actually has even more. So I'm going to keep them behind the spearmen for now, so that even if these brigands want to go after one of them, they have to go through the spearmen to get to them. Let's speed everybody up. Now, if I had archers, and if archers were any good, I could be shooting at them as they approach. So I'm just shifting my spears to keep them in the way. As soon as, okay, those guys just committed to fighting the spears. So now I'm going to run these guys out to the flanks. And while these guys are fighting, I'm just going to charge into their backs. Make short work of these guys. Oh, look at their morale crumble. Oh, they're losing men. I'm not losing anybody. Oh, this is a slaughter. Oh, that was humiliating for the brigands. All right, well, let's, I guess I don't need to keep everybody here. I don't think the Baron is going to be competing with me for this spot. So let's start sending my slower troops back home. And let's just bring my quicker troops down here to claim the camp. New message. So I think I'm going to put it in my treasury just because my town's doing fine. We've got 1,000 regional wealth, so we're good on the town side. Okay, the season has moved on. It looks like people aren't picking a lot of berries. Is that because I took everyone out of the forager hut? Probably. Well, let's put some people in there to start picking some berries. And what else should we do? I mean, we got all our crops planted, and we got plenty of people assigned here so that whenever September rolls around, we don't miss out on the harvest. I'm trying to think if there's anything else we need. Are we short on metal at all? We're not making enough iron slabs. Why not? Hey, make more iron slabs. We need to get swords up in here. Okay, so really the thing I'm waiting for right now is just for my claiming bar to fill, because I think everything else is pretty much on autopilot now. Okay, so the retinue, we're going to disband, so they all go back to the manor. At least I assume that's where they go. Similarly, let's disband our spearmen. They'll all go back to their homes. I want to see where these guys go. Hey, Jorg. Where are you headed, Jorg? You going back to the manor house? Yep. My retinue lives in the manor house. Man, cramming a lot of people. It's like a clown car. Everybody's in there. Oh, hey. Region claimed successfully. Eichenau is ours. Okay, so now comes the fun part. So we are going to start a brand new town in Eikenau. So let's have a look at what Eikenau has to offer. I mean, I didn't choose it based on what it has to offer. I chose it based on it being the only place not owned by the Baron. Oh, real quick, Orithos just asked if I've played Stellaris. He says that he's getting into it. I played Stellaris when Stellaris was brand new, and I hear it's very, very different now, but I haven't gone back and given it another shot. But I did like it in theory. I mean, it's, you know, for that kind of game, the sort of galactic conquest game, I think by reputation alone, it is the best ever done. And I really did enjoy it when it was new, but I never got super great at it, and then I heard it just got even more complicated over time. So I'm a little intimidated by it now. Anyway, so it looks like what we have here is an infinite clay deposit, which is great. Not the greatest food sources, but also a ton of iron. So this is a really good, like, industrial town. We could be mining this stuff for a really long time and sending it back to other towns. But the food production isn't going to be great here for a while. So one thing that means is that we'll want to look into wheat production. Oh, but the ground isn't very fertile here. Like, look over here. We got so much fertile ground in this territory. That's its big advantage. This spot? I mean, we've got some fertile territory here, but not a lot. So what we're going to want to do is probably set up a town that is mostly focused on collecting all these resources. We'll want to chop down these trees so we can free up this land to be where we can do some farming to try to supplement their food. But one thing we can do is set up exchanges between, like, barter between these two towns, where the other town, which is going to make much more food, is providing food here, and this town is providing things like iron and clay to the other town. But also, each town is still going to have to provide, in some way or another, whether through trade or through production, the same stuff in order to be able to upgrade the housing and make the people happier, all that. Like, so building your second town is very similar to building your first town. But you just kind of have the advantage now, and maybe the burden, of having them work together. So I'm just going to draw a little road here that sort of connects to all the bits. But the first thing you actually build, I believe it's in the, I think it's in the administration, is you build a settlers camp. So this costs 250, I believe, from your treasury. And this is the same little camp that you started with your very first settlement. So I think I want to build the center of my town here. I want to build my tree chopping operation up here. So maybe I want to keep this out of the way of the center of town. So maybe what I'll do is I'll put this near the tree chopping operation. And now, depending on how much money I want to spend, I can start with increasing amounts of resources. Like, for instance, because I've got over 500 coins in my treasury, I can decide to start with average supplies. So that means I end up with 500 local wealth. And I also get more bread, more, I think that's firewood, more stone, and more tools. Now, tools are useless, so I don't care. Stone, I can mine here pretty freely. There's already stone. So overall, I'm not sure how useful this is, except the main thing that is useful is this right here. This is a one-time ability, I believe. Oh, wait, no, this is just a cost. Oh, never mind. I was reading this wrong. Don't listen to me. Why are you here? Anyway, so yeah, so this cost me 500. I'm not going to say the thing I was going to say that was wrong. It looks like we've got other options up here that are non-clickable. I imagine that these might, in some future iteration of the game, offer you different mixes of starting supplies or something. I'm not sure. I don't know what that's going to be. But we have now settled, and now we have 5 basically free families show up when you decide to settle. You don't need to bring in your own people from the other town. You basically just sort of automatically get 5 families to start with. And you also get this little pile of supplies, a little hitching post, the same stuff that you always get. So now let's plan how we want to get started. So the first thing we want to do is set up food. So we've got a forager hut right here near the bushes. Let's also set up a hunting camp close, but not interfering with the animals. However, mining this clay is going to be tough, because actually whenever we decide to start mining this clay, we're going to drive these animals away. If you build too close to the animals migrate. So I'm going to avoid the clay for right now, because whenever I do go after the clay, it's going to be a little bit of a headache. But we'll build this lovely little winding road. Okay, so we've got our 2 food sources. I guess I'll unpause so people get started on that stuff. And we should build our tree chopping situation. So let's build ourselves a logging camp. And let's do it right here. So we can chop down these trees and then specifically use this land for farming eventually. We should also have a woodcutter's lodge, and we can... so somebody in one of my comments, by the way, pointed out, and this is something I didn't realize, and that I feel like I need to test now. They said that the saw pit... I assumed the saw pit would drag logs from the logging camp, but apparently they say that actually they chop down their own trees. If that's true, that's fascinating, and it makes me want to test that out. I don't know if we'll be able to prove it to ourselves this particular time, but... let's build a saw pit over here, as far away from the logging camp as we can. And let's sort of remember what trees were around here. And once this thing is completed, let's see if it starts chopping down trees in its vicinity. Of course, it'll need to borrow the ox to do that, and it might avoid borrowing the ox. So maybe one other thing I should do is build a second hitching post down here, so it definitely has cow access, basically. And then it looks like we've got a forager hut, so we can add a person to that. We've got a hunting camp, we'll add a person to that. Only got 3 construction families left. Looks like they're going after the saw pit. So La Coalition wonders if this game has war crimes, because La Coalition always wonders if games have war crimes. I mean, I think this actually depicts fairly honorable combat to the degree that you can call it honorable. I'm not really aware of there being a thing you can do that is awful, aside from just, war being hell as a general rule. Okay, looks like we've got a logging camp. Slap a person in there. What else are we looking at? Okay, we got the Woodcutter's Lodge coming together. I'm going to ignore the Woodcutter's Lodge for now, because we don't even have any houses to heat. And instead, I'm going to staff the saw pit when the saw pit's ready. Okay, so Raneth Cord, by the way, just cashed in the add a name to State of Decay prize, State of Decay 2 prize for Kiwi Bird. So yes, I will find an occasion to add Kiwi Bird, because Airy Twitch also asked for a name. So I'll find an occasion for to add Kiwi Burn and Airy Twitch's name into State of Decay 2. That is one thing, by the way. So before this episode started, I was chatting with my Twitch viewers about the fact that I'm probably going to be taking a semi-break from Twitch for a while. I might still stream occasionally at unpredictable times, but I'm not going to be doing it as religiously as I've been. And during that time, I'm also probably going to at least push pause on my on the prizes that I offer, because things like, I'm not going to be very I'm not really in a great position right now to be making a lot of additions to State of Decay 2 anyway. Oh crap, my stocks are being damaged. Oh, I need to put some storage places in. But yeah, State of Decay is owned by Wushu now. It's actually a little bit of an inconvenience now when I start adding crap to the game under their noses. So I'm going to sort of push pause on that, and I'm also going to push pause on people requesting games for me to play, because I'm not going to be streaming with any kind of regularity, and that's just a weird thing to offer when I'm not going to be able to back it up all that well. So, if you want your prizes, grab your prizes now. Oh, looks like Coalition is also jumping in there and claiming some stuff. So yeah, I'll do a nice little burst of name ads. Anyway, back to this. Sorry, YouTube people, for doing something that you got nothing to do with. Okay, so one thing I've been thinking about is my placement of storage buildings. Because whenever I watch folks on YouTube who are like more expert in this game than I am, they really think about their placement of storage buildings as part of sort of a supply chain that funnels things back to the marketplace and back to your houses. What I've been doing historically is just building a storage building just in the middle of town, and then everything kind of gets aggregated there. So some things end up going straight to the market from the production, some go through the storage. It's all kind of a little bit muddy. But one thing you can do is basically find things like chopped wood, like iron, like clay that gets aggregated, like stone that gets aggregated in this storehouse, and put the storehouse near those things, and then expect whoever works in the storehouse to be the one who's carting stuff back and putting it up in the marketplace. And that had some efficiencies to it. I don't fully understand the advantages necessarily, but so my town's going to be up here, but I'm going to put the storage here at the nexus of all the paths that lead to all of my industry. And similarly, I'm planning for most of my food production to be up here. Some of it is here. Right now, a lot of it is coming through this direction, but I'm expecting a lot of it to be up here too. So I'm wondering if, well, you know what? Actually, let's put a granary. Let's still put a granary here near the storehouse. So we'll aggregate all the stuff that's coming in right now from the things that we've built in these two spots. And then we'll funnel them up this way towards where I'm actually going to build my town. Oh, wait, no, I'm saying that farming is here. I was actually going to put the town around here, wasn't I? Well, dang it. No, I'm going to put the town in a dumb place now. Just because I want to see that work. So actually, town goes here now. This is where the town is. I have decided. So once we've got these things built, I'm going to start worrying about people's... hey. Saw pit works. Boink. And let's get an ox. So we're going to have somebody work in this saw pit, and we're going to see if they actually chop down their own trees or if they just import logs from elsewhere. Oh, look at that. Oh, did you see that? Did you see that? They brought a log in from elsewhere. Huh. All right. We'll stick with this a little bit longer and see what happens, but it could be that we might have just busted a myth. But let's see. Let's see. If they actually do chop down some trees, like maybe you can run out of logs over here, or maybe between log deliveries, they'll still chop trees down. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. So Airy Twitch says, I seem to remember storage placement being important for Banished. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. There's a lot of things that were important to Banished, and a lot of things that could go wrong. And I don't remember what they all were. Okay, so let's... Real quick, we don't have anything to build right now. So let's, is this all food stores? I think I might have already lost all my food stores. Not sure. How are we doing? No, we got berries and meat and stuff. I don't know where it's being kept, but we got it. So let's put somebody in the storehouse so that they will go and actually clean up all of these things. It looks like this actually might be, oh, this is bread and stones and wood. So okay, so we're gonna cart the stones and wood over to the storehouse. And then once we're done with that, we'll assign the same family to the granary and have them take things to the granary. And then we won't have these supplies lying around anymore. And then we'll get to building houses. It's kind of fun watching these guys. Work, peasant! Move those stones! Oh, looks like you're all done. Nothing left. What are you... Oh, wait. Where did you find those tools? There were just tools sitting here the whole time? Huh, I had no idea. Alright, well, I guess your job wasn't done. Are you finished now? I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, there's still 2 more tools here. Okay, so it looks like somebody's going to need to make one more trip to pick up the tools. I guess the tools just don't show up in a pile. They only show up when you're actually porting them. All right, so we got the tools. Let's get them back to the storehouse. And then let's take people out of the storehouse and put them in the granary instead. Now, long term, I want to assign people full-time to these places so they can be funneling all this stuff to the marketplace. But for right now, all I need them to do is just get stuff out of the rain before it all goes bad. SXO says, this game is so amazing. I hope it'll come soon to the Xbox. As I understand it, they do have that ambition, though I imagine it'll be difficult to make it work really well on the Xbox. But, because, you know, just this is a very mouse and keyboard-centric game. But, you never know. Okay, supplies, gone. Awesome. So we'll take people out of the granary. Now we've got some construction folks. And so now it's time to build our little town. So let's... Ooh, it's September. Hold on. So this is the thing that's challenging and why I actually have no intention of ever taking over the entire map. Because it's September. I gotta go over here and make sure a harvest is happening. Yes, it looks like our harvest is happening. I should probably put a few more people in here to make sure it gets done fast enough, because if you leave these things until winter, they'll just die and freeze, and that's not good. So hopefully we've got enough. We got 8 entire families working this place. Hopefully they'll get it done. If they don't get it done in time, what that'll tell me is I need another farmhouse so I can get more people working. And actually, one thing that you can do, a thing that I found is if you, for instance, have wildly different fertility across your land, and some of your areas are good for wheat and some areas are good for flax or whatever, you can end up in a situation where you build 2 separate farms. But then the people from one farm will go work in the opposite fields, and the people in the other farm will go work in the opposite fields, and they'll make kind of insane decisions about how far they're going to walk between their jobs, and they'll be really inefficient. So one technique that you can use is to go to Advanced and go to Work Area, and you can decide where the people from this farmhouse are going to work. So you can say, I mean, in this case, I only have the one farmhouse, and it doesn't matter. I'll give them all of the farms. But there we go. Look, we just lost some of our crop because we ran out of time. So what I should probably do is build a second farmhouse and basically say these guys work this area and some guys up here work this area, keep them separated, and then they'll work in parallel and get a lot more done a lot faster. For now, though, we have ensured that our harvest has happened. So we'll go back here. Oh, wait. Before I do that, again, there's so many little management jobs you have to do. Like, for instance, remembering to disband your swordsman. Don't forget to do that. Also, the windmill. So we've got a few more people working the farm right now than we need. So let's put a couple people to work in the windmill. And preemptively... Oh, there's already somebody working in the oven. Great. So now, we don't need people in the oven yet because we don't have any flour yet. But I'm going to leave them there anyway because I'm going to be distracted by this other town. And so I want to make sure that they're all self-sufficient over there. Anyway, what were we doing? We were building a town. So let's start, like we always do, with figure out where the marketplace is. So I want to have a kind of small marketplace so I can start distributing the marketplace, you know, across different locations to hopefully spread things out and make it easier to build wide. So I'm going to do a fairly small one. Little diamond-shaped marketplace. That's too small. Let's go a little bigger than that. Ooh, okay, yeah. Weird pattern. I love it. So just 6 stalls. So that's enough to get going, but then I'll need to add more later on. But I'll add them nearer to other buildings when I do. And then we need to have 5 lots. Oh, interesting. Oh, that's a weird pattern. Oh, that's extremely weird. I kind of want to know how that works. Okay, so there's 4 of our houses. So actually, I think that we've got a little servants' quarters there that's going to be a 5th. But let's go a little bit bigger. Let's go a little bit bigger than that. Whoa, okay. Yes, put the house there. Just because it's insane. All right. See, like, yeah, sure. You could try to place your slots, place your plots in order to optimize the game, or you could just place them to make weird things happen. And I prefer the latter. I like to just see how weirdly this town can come together, just because that's the thing that's fun about medieval towns, is they're always built a little bit haphazardly, and the roads just sort of almost follow desire paths, and they're, it's not like the big grids of like modern metropolises. It's, it's just these winding little roads that are just there because somebody walked that way. And houses place where you can fit them, and as they get bigger they start just sort of leaning on each other and just getting all strange. That's what I love about this kind of architecture, and I would love to see either this game or some other game like it really lean hard into the chaos of medieval town building. So La Coalición asks if I have Mother's Day gifts ready. I do not. I'm still thinking and planning around Mother's Day, so nothing to announce here. I probably, if I did know exactly what I was doing, I probably could tell you, because I don't think my wife ever watches this stream. But yeah, or my mom, for that matter. We got to think about both. So we got this one little construction family doing their best over here. Let's have a look at the saw pit again. So far, it looks like we've still got the same set of trees here. So I believe that we may have busted this myth. I think that the people running this saw pit, they're going and grabbing logs from the logging camp. In fact... Wait, did he just drag something to the logging camp? Wait, what? Oh, hold on a second. Did they chop a tree down? This ox is holding a log right now. What's going on? Okay. Yeah, why does he have a log? He's taking it back home, but then this guy is bringing a log here. That is extremely odd. So, one thing, okay. So it looks like we have demonstrated that it's fall now, and nobody has chopped a single tree down in this area. Now, they are bringing over more logs than they need, and sometimes we'll just have an ox standing here with a log for a really long time that nobody's using, and then they'll just take it back to the logging camp. I don't know what's going on there. But whenever these guys need a log, they are going and getting it from the logging camp. Now, part of that is probably the fact that the logging camp is the only place to store logs. So even if these folks were chopping their own trees down, if they chopped down more than they needed, they would still have to cart it all the way back to the logging camp and then pick it up from the logging camp again if they needed to store it. So, I think that there are still reasons why the logging camp would be relevant, even if these guys were chopping their own trees down. But I think we've demonstrated they are not chopping down nearby trees. They are definitely getting a log from the logging camp every time they want one. So that's good to know. So Coalición is calling this modern supply chains in a nutshell. That basically we're going the most bass-ackwards way we possibly can to get everything done. Okay, so this town has got enough houses to house more people than they've currently got. They could house 2 more people if they wanted to. But they're not going to start until they forget their homelessness. So right now, we're no longer homeless. Our little camp here has gone away. And actually, let's move the hitching post into that spot, just because we've got that spot reserved. Might as well. Because I already built around it anyway, so I might as well put the post there. Oh, wait, one thing we need. Water access. Actually, I probably could have put water there. I haven't investigated water at all. Oh. Yeah, water is not as close as I usually want it to be. So, I guess we'll put a well back there. Connect it to town with a little road. And then we just build another couple of houses around it for fun. Okay, that didn't go far enough. There. That's what we want. Okay, so we're going to overbuild housing a little bit because we are going to want all these people. But one thing we can... Let's have a look at... Okay, so our food is doing okay. We got enough meat and berries to get us through the winter. We got enough fuel for 4 months, so it's not as much. But did we ever actually put somebody on the woodcutter? Where's the woodcutter? We didn't, because we were experimenting with the saw pit. So I think we've got enough planks for now. So let's have people cut wood so that we can... Because we've got more wood to start with than we normally would have because we chose the second option for our initial starting resources. But it's still not enough to last that long. Oh, hey, I just realized we've got a development point. So let's go with... Actually, you know what? I've never done charcoal burning, but deep mining is the thing I actually want because these guys have rich mineral deposits. And I can probably just mine them infinitely if I get deep mining. So let's start with charcoal burning. But actually, charcoal burning is something I've never done. And for a group that has actually got limited access to fuel right now, it might actually be a good idea to build a charcoal kiln. So where is the charcoal kiln? I'm not actually sure. I don't know where it appears on the list here. Is it industry? I think it transforms firewood into... Oh, there it is. Charcoal kiln. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to build a charcoal kiln right across the street here from the woodcutter's lodge. And what this does is, I believe that what it does is it turns 1 unit of firewood into 2 units of charcoal, and charcoal is burned at the same rate as firewood. So you're basically doubling your firewood. And so that means you can have fewer people working in the woodcutter's lodge and at the charcoal kiln while producing about the same amount of fuel. So I'm too rocking came in and says, I'm going to get Xbox PC Pass just for this. Yeah, seriously, it's amazing to me how many people, like, between, this has become the most wishlisted game on Steam prior to its early access release. And there are people who are just like, yeah, I will buy it into an entire new platform just to get access to this stuff. And there's just something about this tactile feel of drawing out these insane little villages and then watching them spring to life that is just really compelling to people. And I love that Slavic Magic has sort of like hit on this formula that apparently just everybody wanted, but no one else had figured out that everybody wanted. So I'm just going to put one more lot here for fun. So yeah, this is way too many lots, but it's fine, whatever. Oh, we just hit 50% approval, though, which means people are going to start moving in, which is good because I'm hoping before I run out of time, and I'm going to run out of time pretty soon, that I can show you pack stations. So here's what a pack station is. A pack station is a little device that will set up barter relationships between your own settlements. So you want to put them kind of close to like the King's Road here. So I'm going to build one in each of my locations and let folks go and construct them. And we'll have a look at what they do. So now you've got the trading post. I think we already talked a little bit about the trading post and how it works. And I think that we're using it to sell shoes over here. Where did I stick it? There it is. So yeah, I believe that we've set up trade over here to export shoes. So anytime... I have 112 shoes. Why are we failing to sell shoes at the rate we should be selling them? Because this is saying that basically anytime we have more than 12 shoes on hand, we should be selling the shoes. Look at how fast we're producing these shoes. We're making shoes so fast we cannot sell them. That's hilarious. But anyway, periodically... Actually, you know what we should do? Let's order a new horse. I don't know if that does anything. But let's add a new person, too. Why not? I don't know if that makes a difference at all. I don't know how anything works. But the trading post, what it does, though, is it trades with unnamed outside forces to funnel cash into your wallet for having produced things locally. Or similarly, you can spend your own money. You're spending your regional wealth in order to get things that you don't earn locally. But you don't have to worry about how those things are produced. They're just magically available out there in the world someplace. The pack station is different because you actually are moving specific objects that you produced in one place to another place. But the thing that's interesting is you have to actually set up barter relationships. You can't just say, hey, send this thing here. That's not how it works. Instead, what you have to do is say, okay, my barter partner is Eikenau, my new town, and I'm going to send them shoes In exchange, they're going to send me charcoal. What? I mean, actually, they're not really making a whole lot yet. Because they don't even have enough people yet. But let's... What do they actually have? They got some berries. They've got some tools. You know what? They've got stone, and they're going to be getting more... Let's have them trade some stone. Just to illustrate it. This is not what I would normally be doing. Normally, I'd be actually having them produce something useful. But, so basically, we'll assign a person to work here. And eventually... and basically, this person's job is to take shoes from here, take them down to Eikenau, pick up stone, and bring the stone back. And I think that person's capacity is severely limited, though, until we get them a mule. But to get them a mule, we have to have a completely different place, which is... where was that? Is it logistics? Was it the... Or was it... It was this. Livestock trading post. Okay, so it's interesting. The necessity of the livestock trading post seems to be uneven across the game. Because, for instance, the hitching post, you can just order an ox straight from the hitching post, and it's fine. And similarly, you saw me in the trading post, I think you just order a horse. Once a month, you can order a horse here. It just goes straight to the trading post. For some reason, the pack station requires a separate building to order livestock. And also, the other use for the livestock trading post is if you have a sheep corral. If you build a sheep corral, the corral itself doesn't let you order sheep. You have to build the livestock trading post to order sheep that then get funneled into the sheep corral. So La Coalición wants me to have a look at the poll that he started, saying, in medieval Europe, would you rather be a farmer, a lumberjack, or a miner? I don't know. So lumberjack sounds fun because, you know, they got the big old axe. There's also a lot that can fall on your head, though, and they don't have modern medicine. And a miner, I mean, there has never been a time and place where mining was a fun job. Mining has always been, like the best case scenario is you've got a lot of people who support each other with a sense of camaraderie about how much mining sucks, but they're all miners and they can handle it. That's the best mining gets, is you have friends who agree with you about how much it sucks. But who are willing to do it anyway. So here, I'm going to ask for... Oh, wait, hold on. I did it wrong. I'm going to say, I want to import a mule. Let's get a couple of mules in here. No, let's just get one. Let's get one mule. So at some point, we're going to buy a mule. Oh, wait, no. Now it is letting me order the mule directly here. Why? What changed? I don't need a mule anymore. Go away. I don't want your mule. Now this is... Okay, I swear this is still the place where you order sheep. I promise this is the only place to get sheep. Apparently mules are confusing. And now Oh, yeah. Oh, maybe without a livestock trading post, maybe I can only order one animal from any source per region per day. And so because I had already ordered a horse over here, maybe that's what was preventing me from ordering a mule over here. But now I've ordered a mule because the month rolled over. That might explain what happened. Any case, so what we're going to have is a mule is going to show up. And actually, can we see what's going on? Okay, so the people who work with this... Whoa. Yeah, so the people who work at this station, they've gone over to the other town. And they've been bringing shoes to the other town and storing them in here, I guess. Yep, they brought 15 shoes over here. So this place, despite the fact that this place has not built a tannery and has not built a cobbler, these guys now have shoes, which means whoever's working in the storehouse, which is nobody, but eventually if somebody's working in the storehouse, they can set up a clothing stall just selling the shoes that are coming from the other town. And in the meantime, I'm shipping my stone over there. So I might actually put a stop to that at some point. And just because I don't want to actually run out of stone over here. Stone actually has its values. But that's how that works. In fact, yeah, now that we've seen it working, I think I will pause this. Let's not do that anymore. But we've seen it working. And so now we can understand how, like, once I've built this town up, I can keep bringing shoes over here to make them happier. I can start funneling, like, you know, iron from this rich iron deposit over there, and we can actually end up building kind of a nation scattered across this area where each town has got its specialties, and they're sharing with each other, and they're kind of prospering together better than they could on their own. But in order for me to claim any of these other territories, I'm probably going to have to deal with the Baron contesting them. Because I can claim with influence. I can go claim Waldbrand if I want to. But if I do that, the Baron is going to call in his armies. He's going to come in here. They're going to designate a battlefield. And basically, if I want to keep it, I have to go to that battlefield with my armies and fight him off. And I'm not really that well equipped to do that. You'll notice my wealth is lower because I spent all of it starting that new town. And actually, one thing I should probably do is raise taxes. Start funneling more money in here. Now, because I've raised taxes, next month, my approval is going to be not that great. They're going to drop my approval by about, I don't know, 9 or 10, something like that. Oh, there we go, 7. Yeah, so my taxation just dropped stuff by 7. And so, yeah, approval is a little lower here. So there's a level of taxation that your people will not tolerate. But a little bit of taxation they can. And look how much money just got dumped into my treasury this month. So that is how you can start maintaining these larger armies. And once you've kind of got, built this up, you can call in a bunch of mercenaries. Then you can start challenging the Baron for these lands that he actually has established a claim to. Oh, but look here. We got people starting to move in here. We've now got 1 extra person this month. So now that we're above 50%, there's a decent chance of a person coming in each month. I wonder, is the chance controlled by the approval rating directly? Is it just a 53% chance that someone will come in next month? I don't know. That's how I would probably do it. But anyway, so as they start filling out these spots, we can, for instance, start moving people into the charcoal kiln, and they'll start generating charcoal. Not that we need it. We've got enough fuel for our tiny town, but whatever. We can also start building mines. So we can build a mine in the mining pit right there. Tiny little road. We can build a stonecutter's camp over near the stone. And actually, yeah, I am out of time. I got to get to a meeting, but let's do one other thing, which is... Okay, so if we were to place a hunting camp... Okay, yeah, so you see, there's this radius that you can't build anything in if you want these animals to stick around. And I believe also if people start invading this area to chop trees down, I think that can also mess up the animal habitat and cause the animals to migrate. I suspect if I build a mine here, that might trigger that. So let's build a mine here. And look at that. The animals moved. And the animals actually moved kind of closer to my town, which puts them kind of in striking distance, so they might end up having to move again. So this is fine. We knew we were going to do this the whole time. But... So I'm going to build that. Okay, so this hunting camp, it's not invalidated because it is still close enough to the animals to make a difference. But yeah, so we've got the start of our little industrial town. And with that, we should probably wrap this up. Because, I've got to get to a meeting. There's stuff we got to do. Okay, so La Coalition has a question before we go. He says, how on earth do game devs do measurements? Like, how do they make sure 1 meter is 1 meter or 1 foot? So usually, whatever editor you're using to sort of build your art assets and build your world will have some kind of intrinsic, measurement system in it. I believe that the Unreal editor uses centimeters as its base unit. So if something is 10 units wide, that means it's 10 centimeters wide, which is, I don't know, whatever that is. I can't estimate centimeters. I'm an American. And so basically the idea is you just, whenever you're building something, if you want it to be absolutely doctrinaire, like all the measurements are accurate, as long as you're just using that same measurement system on everything, it'll all be consistent, and a meter will be a meter. And if you set things like, for instance, how the camera behaves, how it treats its, focal depth and stuff like that, and make that also reasonable for the scale you're operating at, then everything will feel right. The problem is that actually the real challenge of game development is not getting the measurements right. It's knowing when to get them absolutely wrong on purpose to make the world feel right. Because especially in third-person games where the camera is separated from the characters, not inside their heads, there's a foreshortening effect that causes the world to look smaller than it actually is to you. And so you actually have to make the world a little bit too big, not just to accommodate the camera, but to also accommodate the player's perspective. So when they're standing in front of a doorway, if the doorway is the right size, it looks too small to the player. And if the doorway is a little bit too big, it looks right. And so but then, except when you get really, really close to it and you're examining it, you're like, wait, this doorway is way too large. But at a glance, it looks right if it's a little bit too large. And so that's actually where the artistry comes in, is figuring out that balance of, like, how do I stretch things so that they're the wrong measurements, but my players still think they're the right measurements. So I don't know how to do that. That is an artist's domain. But there's a lot of very talented artists out there in the game industry making that work. Yeah, so Enigma says, like, oh, that's right, centimeters, we win. Yeah, I mean, inches would just make no sense, because basically you want a decimal system when you're working with a bunch of different scales and scaling things up and down and stuff like that. A decimal system makes so much more sense. And so inches and feet and yards and miles and stuff, it's not, repeatable enough as you scale up and down, the way that centimeters and meters and stuff, it just all makes sense. So yeah, if there's no scenario, I think, where anyone wants to use the imperial system inside of a game editor. Anyway, okay, now we really do need to wrap this up. But thank you all for, coming here and hanging out with me so often, especially, those of you who've been watching me live who I might not see as much of for the next little while. I appreciate it. And those of you who are watching on YouTube, I do still intend to keep putting out YouTube videos, probably a little less frequently than before, because again, I won't have my streaming schedule constantly driving me to make new ones. But I do hope to keep hanging out with you. And if you watch me on Twitch, come and check out my YouTube videos and leave comments, and I'll still want to talk to y'all. So anyway, let's wrap this up. There's a subscribe button and links to other videos. I'm not planning to do another Manlords video in the next immediate future, but as they expand the game, I'll probably want to come back to it. So see you then. And also other times, hopefully.